Guys would like to welcome Bill Lindsey, Impaler. Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, Brian.
Good
to talk to you.
Good, man. We know each other pretty long, maybe 20 years or so and stuff like that. Always been good friends, good rapport and stuff like that. And even when I worked for Metal Forces magazine and stuff like that, Bernard Doe did, some work with you guys and advertised the band and the magazine and stuff like that. Before, entering Impaler and stuff like that, and you had dreams of, bands and stuff like that, what bands did you listen to?
Well, the first bands I got into were like, I heard Slade on a compilation, and School's Out by Alice Cooper was on the radio at the time.
Right.
And so those two kind of things happened around the same time and really turned me on to heavy rock, And so I just started exploring and buying albums and have been into it ever since.
Cool. Now, Rise of the Mutants would be your first EP that came out before the, all the demos and stuff like that. And it seemed like you got a lot of press right off the bat. Do you feel the press came from the music or actually, the videos and stuff like that, like Vicious Dreams?
Well, the video actually came later, so really all people had to go by was the demo tapes at that time,
Right.
So it was definitely the music, and maybe they were captivated about the way we looked or something. But that's the thing, when it first came out, all anybody had to go by was the music because nobody'd seen an Impaler show outside of the Twin Cities at that point.
Right.
And everything like Metal Forces and all the fanzines,
right?
Just had our demos to go by before we were signed to Combat.
Cool.
And,
now, when you look back on that, I guess that would be your first video, Vicious Dreams. When you look at that and stuff like that, what goes through your mind?
Oh, it's fun to see it. I mean, it was an early time in our career, and it was exciting, and we were getting, like you say, getting a lot of attention from a lot of different outlets and fans, and so it was a fun time,
Right.
And it was our first video. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, We'd never shot a video before. And the guy who actually shot the video, he went out to California and started working in the industry, and he actually started working on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and some other TV shows.
Right.
So he actually started doing an Impaler video, and it all went downhill from there for him. So.
Wow, that's pretty cool. When Impaler came out, I guess you had different ideas of the kind of stage show you wanted and stuff like that. Did this happen in high school or whatever?
Well, it just happened gradually. I mean, being into Alice Cooper and Kiss,
right,
and then the Plasmatics and stuff. It just progressed as we went along. From even the garage days when we first started and we were called Blind Luck, we were always trying to have some kind of a live production, that was cool and worked within our budget and just learned how to do things. It's a learning experience as you go along. It's like being in school,
Right.
You go along and you figure out how to do things and make things work. And it's just a progress as you go along.
Right. I'm sure you had to put plenty of funds into the stage show and stuff like that. Is it worth every penny that you spent in this band to be where you are now?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all labor of love, and it's all fun. I enjoy making props and stuff like that, and seeing how other people do things. It's really inspiring. And, so I got a garage full of stuff, and we can always rotate stages, and stage productions because we got a lot of different stuff over the years. Of course, a lot of the old stuff is disintegrated and had to be rebuilt better, so,
Right.
It's been fun. It's worth it, yeah, and then I use the stuff on Halloween. If we're not playing, I decorate my yard and dress up and go out in my yard, and use like all the Impaler props I made.
Wow, that's great. I mean, plenty of bands are doing everything themselves now, and without a record label because of the internet. Do you feel a record label is even needed anymore?
Well, it's always good to have, as much as support as you can. If someone will pay to have your stuff put out and, support you financially, but that doesn't happen a lot anymore, You really have to learn how to do it yourself. I think, it's still cool to have stuff released on label. You can start your own label. I mean, that's how we started out.
Right.
We just happened to get snatched up by Combat before we actually released the first EP, and then a little later on, when we put out Undead Things, we started Vlad Productions and put out a couple things through that, and they've done just fine. Distribution is the big thing that you need. You need somebody who's going to distribute your stuff and get it out, into stores and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think you can definitely have a great career without being on a label.
Right.
And we've kind of come full circle. That's something that inspired us to start our own label and promote our own shows and stuff. Was we were there was a great punk scene in the Twin Cities at the time. It was Husker Du and just tons of different bands like that were hardcore and punk and stuff. And just watching them, how they produce their own records, put out their own records, did their own flyering and all that stuff. And so we really took a cue from them and started doing those things with Impaler on more of a metal avenue. So.
Right. Well, what recommendations would you, tell a musician or a band, starting in the field and stuff? Since you guys got longevity since 1983 until now, and I'm sure you saw the ins and outs and the bad and the good. What would you tell a band just starting out? Beware of whatever, or try this, or what?
Well, just be true to what you like and what you want to do, Don't get caught up in what the trends are and things like that. Because if you're true to what you're doing, people are going to know that, and sense it. And even if you go out of fashion, you'll probably come back into fashion the next year,
Right.
It's just it's a crazy thing. So you just have to do what you believe in.
Right.
And, try and be organized and try and do as much yourself as you can. Don't rely on other people,
Right.
You take matters into your own hands, because then it'll be done right, If you start to let things slide and count on other people to do things for you, sometimes that doesn't always happen.
Right.
And you end up doing it yourself anyway. So, yeah.
Cool.
That's the best advice I can give people.
Right. You have a lot of props and gimmicks during your stage show and stuff like that. I know you do some fire breathing and stuff like that. How'd you learn about that?
Well, I went on the internet, when the internet was pretty new, there was a lot of different stuff on there that probably doesn't even exist anymore, because, you'd have the dial-up and all that stuff.
Right.
And I was on there, and it was something I kind of decided that I wanted to add to our show, and I actually found a circus performer who had a blog or a page.
Right.
And he explained how to do it and how to do it properly. And so I took a long time and perfected the art of blowing water in a fine mist, because that's the secret behind it, is to blow as fine of a mist as you possibly can.
Right.
And never use any petrol, products at all. Nothing,
right.
No gas or lighter fluid or any of that stuff.
Right.
And so that's how I learned from a circus performer who put a website on the internet.
Cool. That's cool, man. How do these things come to you? Like, you want to do different things on the stage and stuff like that. You got the blood, you got the fire. Is it hard trying to figure out different things?
No, it comes to me pretty naturally. Everybody's inspired by things, and
right.
Even though we're inspired by Alice Cooper and Kiss, I don't want to, copy exactly the things that they're doing, so I'm not going to go build a gallows and be hung or have my head cut off or something like that. But, I mean, a lot of different bands are blowing fire, you know. Simmons was the first one that I saw do it, you know, no doubt about it. But a lot of different bands started doing it, and I just figured, well, it's fair game, you know. I probably would have done it sooner, you know, because I just thought it's Simmons' thing, you know.
Right, yeah.
But I'm inspired by so many different things, even outside of music, you know, like comic books and pro wrestling, old school pro wrestling, lucha libre,
right, yeah,
Latino wrestling.
Right.
That stuff all inspires me and gives me ideas of things to do on stage, you know, horror movies. Yeah. That's where the gut pulling came from, doing the disemboweling came straight from the original Night of the Living Dead. Right. I was at a midnight movie watching that in a movie theater because this was before VCRs and stuff.
Right.
And there's that scene where they're all pulling the intestines out of the dead bodies of the two teenagers that got blown up in the pickup truck, you know, and they're all chowing down on the entrails. And I said, God, to be able to do that on stage would be great, you know. Wow. But I'm going to figure out how to do it, and so from then on, we were doing it.
Wow. Now, getting back to the music, do you have new material coming out soon, or you know, a lot of bands seem like they're not recording no more. They'd rather just do shows, and I guess it's more beneficial just to do the shows now.
Oh, we're actually working on a new full length right now. It's I'm waiting to go back in and do background vocals as soon as the guitars are all finished with their recording.
Right.
And that's going to be titled Circus of Horrors, and it's a concept album with a storyline that goes through the beginning to end.
Right.
And that'll be coming out hopefully by Halloween. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it for a long time.
Right. Wow. Is that going to be self-produced and you know in-house?
We're working on it ourselves. We've been working with Old Cemetery Records in Rhode Island, out east there. You put out our 30 Years in Rising. You put that out on vinyl, and then he reissued Undead Things because that's been out of print for a long time, and so he reissued it, and so he's interested in releasing Circus of Horrors for us.
Wow.
I'm not sure what formats, if he's going to do it on vinyl and CD or one or the other.
Right.
But so far, that's our plan right now.
Cool. Did you have a person named John Fox working with you for a while?
Oh, he didn't really work with us, but he was around in the scene back then. He's a good friend of... I've known him since junior high, since I was like about 14 or 15 years old.
Wow. He's
been around, but he never worked for Impaler, but he's a bootlegger, for lack of a better term. He's been recording shows since, you know, early on, and all shows, local ones and national ones, and and I know John Fox.
Right. Is it when the new album comes out, or CD, whatever you want to call it? Do you plan on touring outside of Minnesota?
Mm-hmm. We were just out east last fall.
Right.
We played in Brooklyn and Rhode Island, Salem, Mass, and all points in between on the way out there. You know, just from Minnesota. And so we try and get out, you know, and either go out east or out west or down south, depending on where it takes us.
So, what is life on the road like? You know, for an independent band and stuff like that? Is it difficult?
Well, you have to manage your money well, you know, and that's the key, and also to have, you know, merch that and people are good enough to buy a lot of merch for us, and that helps a lot too.
Wow.
No, it's just a lot of driving. It's very fun to play in different play for different people, and we love to go to roadside attractions along the way. Like last time when we were going out east, we stopped at the Night of the Living Dead museum in Pennsylvania and went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and stuff. just even just weird little roadside attractions are fun to see if you have time. Sometimes you're driving trying to get to the next show in time, but we've kind of got it down to a science where we've been able to route things where we don't have to rush too much.
Cool. Well, Bill Lindsey, Impaler, long career, 1983 until now, and still going. Got a new CD coming out this year. Congratulations. Would you like to say anything to the fans before we end?
Well, just thank you. Thanks for the interview, and thanks to all the people who've supported us and stood by us for 33 years. That's why we do it, to entertain people and to give you a good time and to rock out with you.
Cool.
So come see us if we come to your town. You won't be disappointed.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Bill. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too.